If the Republicans win the day in congressional negotiations and resist the will of the American people by once again sticking up for the super rich, the U.S. government will add an additional $4.7 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. If the Democrats win and uphold the Bush tax cuts for just the bottom 98% of taxpayers, as President Obama has promised, a promise upon which he built his presidential re-election campaign, the U.S. government will add an additional $3.5 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. President Obama has a new tactic to build popularity for his so-called middle-class tax cuts, asking Americans what they could do with an extra $2,000 in after-tax income over the course of the year. By keeping the tax cut for the bottom 98%, the average earner will keep an extra $2,000. It sounds great, but it simply isn't reality. Ignoring for a moment that Americans from the unemployed up to the top 97th percentile are included together in the term middle class, we need to get over the averages handed out by political talking points. You are not going to see an extra $2,000 at the end of the tax year. If you include people in the 97th percent who earn $249,000 annually, with people in the 1st percent who have no taxable income, along with all 150 million workers in between, the average tax savings is $2,000. By letting the Bush tax cuts expire, all of them, we cut a full $4.7 trillion out of the 10-year debt projection. We will certainly notice the extra tens, hundreds, or perhaps even thousands of dollars that we spend in taxes at the end of the year. But taxes aren't supposed to be painless. Americans voted for the wild-spending Bush administration twice. They re-elected the president who started 2 wars without any funding, let alone any evidence to support going in the first place. Americans voted for the deregulating politicians that created a monster and tanked the economy. Now, they shudder at the notion that those choices have consequences. If we just let the Bush tax cuts expire, all of them, and then sit down to discuss other parts of the budget, primarily defense and security spending, which currently matches the entire rest of the world combined, we will be better off. We have to make a choice. Do we want to keep a relatively minute tax break in exchange for even deeper cuts to education funding? Do we want to keep our tax breaks and then stop the food stamp program, which for many Americans is the only thing separating them from a life of poverty and a life of abject starvation? You will notice those extra couple of $100s that you pay in taxes. Christmas will be slightly less bright for a couple of years. You will be missing a few presents under the tree, but you will also be solving the biggest fiscal dilemma this country has ever faced. You will have to return to the dreaded tax levels of the booming 1990s, when the government had enough money to fund its operational costs. A time when a president could sign a law to increase funding to build better schools and hire more teachers, without taking away the lunch program that helps feed poor students. The time has come to let the Bush tax cuts die.
For more news and information, please log on to economyincrisis.org.